Without further ado, please put your hands together and be upstanding for Les Ferdinand! Great to see you, Les. Great to see you. Let's start off, Les, with the early days of Les Ferdinand's career. And we've just done a little piece there with Football Matters on Made Me Tiny Weir, and you talked fondly about your time with Hayes in the non-league. So let's start there, the non-league.
Basically, I spent. Everyone talks about Hayes because I signed from Hayes to Queen's Park Rangers, but I actually spent probably 3 or 4 years at a team called Southall, which is a little bit harder than what Hayes was. But it was where, sort of like 15, 16, I was already playing men's football. I was playing against men and getting beat up most weekends, so that made me a little bit more robust. We got to the FA Vars final at Southall, played the first time, played the winner. I always remember sitting in the changing rooms and the manager turned around and said, "Look, you guys enjoy this, this is going to be the best days of your life." One of them released for him, may get the opportunity to come back here again. We're all looking at each other thinking who could that be. And in what capacity we thought that we'd probably come back to the FA Vars again, or the FA Trophy. Little did I know that I thought myself going back and representing England.
Great stuff, yeah, great stuff. Great place to start. It didn't take long for the young Les Ferdinand to make a big impression though, and league clubs came sniffing. And Queen's Park Rangers, I think, is where we probably all remember you really starting to make an impact.
Yeah, I signed out of non-league and went to Queen's Park Rangers, and in my first sort of like 18 months I really struggled. Looking at stars that I'd seen on the TV and seen in magazines and stuff like that, and all of a sudden I was getting changed in the same changing rooms and training all the same club. It took me a long time to adjust. Hence, I spent a year out in Turkey. I went out on loan, and it just gave me an opportunity to get away from everything like football. I had a year to concentrate on purely on football. So I was still running around with mates and doing the things that I probably shouldn't have been doing, being a professional footballer. But going away to Turkey didn't just turn me into the footballer I ended up being, but it also turned me into a man, because I went to a totally different culture and I had to integrate myself in what was going on with the Turkish people and the Turkish way of life. It just showed me a different way. I came back from a successful year there, and I realised that I could be a professional footballer.
Who was your manager at Queen's Park Rangers?
The infamous Jim Smith, who I know you guys had up here for a period. He signed league football into league football. But when I went to Turkey, he left and I came here. And when I came back, Trevor Francis was the then manager who actually gave me my debut.
Newcastle United, though, was something which, I don't know whether you expected. How did you arrive at St James's Park? Kevin Keegan was obviously manager here, but we hear a lot of stories from some of the other players, the likes of John Beresford. He often talks about, being sat and mesmerised by Kevin and, told that he was going to have an England cap and he didn't believe it. Rob Lee, infamously, was brought up here, again from London, but it was told that Middlesbrough was further nearer to Scotland. Newcastle was closer to London, and he was persuaded to sign for Newcastle. So how did Kevin Keegan persuade Les Ferdinand to come north?
I can believe the Rob Lee story, because he was poor, it would have cost him a little bit more to go further, so that's why he stayed strong. I sort of came to my time at the end of the time at Queen's Park Rangers. I knew I was going to move, and there were a few clubs that came in and bid the required amount that QPR was looking for. And then, as I was travelling with my agent to go and speak, Aston Villa was one of the teams at the time. I was actually going to speak to them, and then Keegan came on the phone. It was loudspeaker in the car, and he said he knew I was listening, but he said to the fella, "You on your own?" And he said, "Yeah." So he said, "Well, look, tell Les when he parks his car outside Aston Villa, there won't be no wheels on it left when he comes outside." he said, it'd be much better going to Newcastle. So he said, look, just do me a favour, when you go and speak to Aston Villa, don't just give me 15 minutes of your time afterwards, and I'll see if I can persuade you to come to Newcastle. So I had the meeting with Doug Ellis, and what was it came in, it was a Saturday afternoon, football season had finished, and he locked me in his box, and he had his little dog, tiny little dog that was running around the office. And he went out of the office and he said to me and my agent, right, you decide what you want, and we'll see when we can get there. And he left the dog there and he said, don't let him move. I looked at this little dog, this little dog's going to kick me now, I've got no chance. So we came to Summer Rosebery and he said, look, my agent at the time asked for a ridiculous amount of money that we never ever get. And he turned around and he said to me, if I give you that money now, if I say yes to that, you sign here and then don't leave. I went, I got to go and talk to my wife about it. He said, you're not married. I went, yeah, but there's someone that I'm thinking of marrying, so but anyway, I left there and I went back down the road and I met Kevin Keegan in a hotel in Cockfosters in London, just outside of London. And I sat down and was there with him for 10 minutes. And I already decided I was signing for Newcastle, but I let him talk for a little bit. And he said to me, look, it's not like London, you can get lost in London, you can't get lost in Newcastle, but what I can tell you, you won't play for a bit of football into a football club, and he was 100% right with that.
We've seen it happen recently, in recent times with Mitrovic and Gale. You know, the number 9 shirt was offered, and you know, I think it offers shows a man who can take it. Mitrovic knocked it back, and for me, I think he's a lesser man for knocking it back. Dwight Gale took it on, and he scored 20+ goals already this season, and hopefully go on to do more in a promotion-winning season. But you took the number 9 shirt on. Did you feel any added pressure?
No, not at all. I knew what it meant to the Newcastle supporters, but I felt I could come in more and flourish in the shirt and do a job. And when Keegan said to me, look, I think you could come in number 9, I said, I had no problem with that. I've brought it all my career, so it wasn't something new to me. I felt I could come back and do the shirt justice.
Your first few games, yeah. I mean, we were talking about it today. I had to go through Wikipedia, I think, as well. Mine both weren't working well. But your debut against Hartlepool, Don Hutchinson's testimonial down at Hartlepool. But those first few games, and then obviously getting into the training side of things in the era of the entertainers. How did you find that? Because you probably, I'm not sure how it was at QPR, but you suddenly go to Maiden Castle, where there's 3,500 people turning to watch you train. It must have been a bit different.
It was very different. It was the first time I'd actually come across, training with the support there, and I can remember in the very early days of training, so I must have been 2 or 3 days in the pre-season, and Kevin Keegan decided to do a training session, a shooting session. So he got all the players and all the supporters came behind the goal. So he was saying, can you move back a little bit, please? Can you move back? Can you move to the side? So people moving away, no, want to go too far away. And he was going, no, we need to move back, we need to move back, move back. And someone was like, fuck me, if he's going to hurt us from there, I'm not sure why he spent 6 million. I mean, we used to turn up in the mornings, and people used to turn up, and they'd have deck chairs and stuff like that. This was pre-season. We used to run off, Keith Gillespie's here, we used to run off into the forest sometimes, or run around there. So no one would see us, but they'd still be sitting there with deck chairs and stuff like that, just waiting for us to come back. We'd come back from all and start and stuff, but no, it was a real good experience.
You obviously found your way to Maiden Castle quite early. How long did it take you to make your way to Julius?
I had a sat-nav in the car, and it was programmed to 2 places. In fact, 3 places. I knew where the stadium was, you could see the stadium from anywhere. But Maiden Castle and Julie's were the 2 places. I didn't even have my home address in the sat-nav. It was Julie's and Maiden Castle. Keith Gillespie. It should have been called Gillespie, shouldn't it, really? But like, yeah, I said, I'm thanking you. When I came to Newcastle, I wasn't a drinker, I never used to drink. And I got taken out with Steve Watson, Willie Clark, Keith Gillespie, and the rest is history.
The first season, you set the world on fire up here. You were loved straight away. I think Newcastle fans were looking for a new number 9 after the sale of Andy Cole and the arrival of obviously Keith Gillespie. They were looking for a new number 9. They got it. But within 12 months, there was going to be another number 9 coming in. Somebody who demanded the number 9 shirt. How did it feel while Alan Shearer came to Newcastle United and that was part of the deal? And how did you deal with how was that negotiated?
Well, I think we was on our way to Singapore, China and Japan. I think we pre-season tour. We got to the airport, we got our tickets and we're running up the stairs to go duty free because I'm thinking China, Singapore was okay, but China and Japan I weren't quite sure what the food was going to be like. So I tried to stock up with chocolate, biscuits and that sort of stuff. So went to Wraith duty free, and as I got the top of the escalators, Terry Dog comes running up and was like, "Oh, Gaffer wants to see us." I said, "Okay, no problem. Tell him to see me duty free. We'll give you as much time as you like in duty free." He said, "No, don't see him. He's downstairs." And I said, "No, he's coming on the trip. I'll be in duty free." So he said, "No, he's not actually coming on the trip." So anyway, I've gone back down the stairs, and he was standing in this little alcove, and he said to me, I'm hopefully going to sign Alan Shearer in the next couple of days." And I went, "Brilliant." And I went, "A lot of people are going to say that you're going to leave this club because there's certain people that believe you and Alan can't play together." He said, "I'm not trying to prove anybody wrong, I just believe that you and Alan can play together." So he said, I'm going to pair you together." So I was like, "Okay, great, brilliant." I said, "I can't wait. Right, can I go duty free?" He said, so I went and got pushed by, went and go past him and Terry, he went, "There's one other thing." So I said, "What's that?" He says, he's asked for the number 9 shirt. And I said, "What did you say?" He said, "Well, I said I last list." He said, "Look, when I was at Liverpool, I was given the number 7 shirt, but it didn't really mean too much to me. I was, I weren't interested in numbers and blah, blah." So he's like, "Well, you got a 7 on your chain, on your chest." And he went, "No, that in the end, it became something." I said, "Well, okay, that's look, well, I've worn number 9 all my career, but the truth is, the mere fact that you've asked me the question, you must want him to have the shirt." And I said, "I'm not stupid, I'm playing in Newcastle, I'm playing in Geordie Land, and I know the supporters the majority of the supporters would want one of their own to be wearing the shirt, so if you feel it's the right thing, you give it to them." He said, "Okay, no problem." And that was it. He said, "Look, I'm telling you because you're the first person I've told about Alan Shearer coming to the club." I said, "Okay." And then he said, "Look, I'm giving you I've said you can have the number 9 shirt. I've had to say that you can take penalties as well. I've had to ask for you." So you said I was the first person you told. So all the stories went down together. But in the end, like I said, I felt the majority of Geordies would want Alan to be in the shirt, and that's what happened.
There was a story in the Evening Chronicle around that time as well, where they said that you'd actually been asked if you wanted to wear the number 99. And I mean, it was just as the shirts were becoming more outlandish, longer names on the back, etc. Is that true? We were going to have the emergency services up front, 999?
No, there was all sorts of things mentioned. People said 99, some people said 69. There was all sorts of ridiculous things mentioned. I went to Tom, who still is, a great fella, and he turned around and said, what numbers are available? And he told me, I said, "I don't want to take anybody else's number, just tell me what numbers are available." And he said to me at the time, number 23, and I was a big Michael Jordan fan, so I said, "Perfect, I'll have number 23. So we went away and he was on pre-season tour, and I said, "Tom, just got the number 23 shirt for me and put it on." And then Kevin came and pulled me and he said to me, "Look, the board don't want you to have the number 23. I said, "Why's that?" He said, "They want you to have a number between 1 and 10, 1 and 11. I said, "Well, I did." And so I decided to take it on you. So I'm not quite sure where you're going with this. And then he said to me, "Well, look, they want you to have another number between 1 and 11, -9. So he said, what about the 10? I said, no, that's Lee Clark. And out of all the players that had numbers at the football club, he was the only person that came, because I used to live in the same block of flats as Lee, or same apartments as Lee, and he came across and knocked on my door one night, and he said to me, whatever you do, don't take the number 10 shirt. I said, Clarky, you ain't got to worry about that, son, I'm not going to take the number 10 shirt. And then Keegan said to me, look, the truth is, Lee's going to be leaving the football club. So you can have the number 10. And he never spoke to me again. The rest of the time I used to see him in the morning, he just press the lift together and he just look at me. So you're going down? He would say nothing to me. But so I really he understood.
Great stuff. A serious question now, and I've asked this to most of the entertainers over the years. What did Terry McDermott actually do?
I'll tell you a little story. It's very funny. One of the funniest stories, while I was there, I had loads of great moments at Newcastle. But one of the moments, we finished pre-season, and Kevin said, one of the things you've got to do, we have a golf day with all the players. There's, I know you don't play golf, but you're going to have to go. So I said, okay, no problem. So Terry McDermott was going around the circle, and he was saying, like, all the guys were standing around the centre circle. He was just about to play the start of the training, some passing, and he said, he asked what handicap this one was, and he said, whatever, this one came to me, and he went, hey, I don't know what handicap you are. And he went, next alongside Keith Gillespie, he said, what handicap are you? I went, I ain't fucking playing. So Terry turned around and said to me, oh, what, you want to be like your mate Les and not play golf? And Keith said, you fucking talking to me. And then Terry's going, fucking talking to you. So he's going, well, I'll knock your head off. And Keith's going, I'll fucking knock your head off. So all of a sudden, I'd get in between the two of them and say, oh, come on, Jeff, don't be stupid, we're talking about golf here, I mean. So anyway, Terry McDermott was looking at Keith, doing daggers, Keith's doing daggers, and he carries on. He walks about 3 more people along and say what handicap you're in, and all the time looking at Keith like that, and Keith's looking at him. So I let him go a couple more, and I went, Terry, you got the dad as a maybe, yeah? We're like, yeah. No, Terry, back to Terry. Terry's great, and he doesn't get the credit he deserves. I know people look at Kevin and say, and Kevin was brilliant, he was absolutely fantastic. But I thought Terry should have said a lot more than he did. I think on a match day, he would go around to the individual players and say things. He didn't have the personality to actually go out and speak in front of the group. But on an individual basis, he went around and said things to people. And what he did say was really prominent from the day. It's just that he's got his reputation and he's done nothing. But I think he was an integral part to what happened with Keegan.
Great answer. The entertainers is always tinged with a bit of sadness from a supporter's point of view, and I know from the lad's point of view as well. That season, 12 points clear, people always say, well, we were actually 13 points clear of Man United at one stage because they were third. It's not something many people remember, but why did it go wrong, Les? Why did it go wrong? We had the best pair in front of you and Harmonies eventually got together, but that particular season through the league, why did it go wrong?
I think basically simple. We were a bit complacent with ourselves as players in terms of we were 12 points clear with a game in hand. 13 points clear with a game in hand. And I think when we lost the first 3 points, it wasn't a case of like, let's pull ourselves up and make sure this can't happen again. It was still 9 points clear. If we win our game in hand, we'll be 12 points clear again. I think we mapped it out, if I'm not mistaken, and said if we'd have carried on winning in the way that we was winning, we would have the season over in March, by the end of March. And I think as a group, we were complacent. I think, I don't know if Keith would agree with me here, we didn't have enough winners in that dressing room. And when I say that, in terms of winners, we hadn't won a lot amongst ourselves. And there was that complacency, and not only that complacency, too many of us lost form towards that latter part of the season. don't know whether it was pressure, whatever it was too many of the good players or the players that have been important that season that lost ball, and that's just simple as that. And we can't, like, we're in the space of a week, our 12 points was eroded to 3 because we lost on the Saturday, lost on the Wednesday, and then lost again on the following Saturday. So what was 9 points clear, all of a sudden you only had the game in hand.
Of course, Manchester United had Camp Nou, and every week it was Camp Nou 1-0, Camp Nou 1-0, which we probably didn't. We always remember the game, obviously Sky's best ever game, the game that you played in the 4-3 at Anfield. What was it like for you to play in that game? I mean, it was a roller coaster ride for the fans. I was sitting in the main stand with Liverpool fans and nearly got chinned at the end of the game. So, I don't know, obviously you didn't have to go through that gauntlet, but what was it like for you on the pitch?
I think on the day, we knew we was playing something special. People often talk about what's the best game you've ever played, and I know it's been voted by Sky as the best game ever, but when you come away from it, we lost. And I remember sitting in the change rooms afterwards and thinking we'd scored 3 goals away from home and we still lost. But as far as the entertainment was concerned, for everybody else, all the neutrals watching, it was a great game for all of us involved in it, and our supporters included, with the players. It wasn't as great as it makes it out to.
We haven't really touched on some of the imports. We'll mention them briefly. You must have some stories about certain individuals. Let's start with the 3 main foreign imports, though. Tino Asprilla, first of all.
He should have been called Gillespie's Tino's. He was blamed for our demise, and it was totally wrong. He was a maverick, arguably one of the best players I've ever played with, Tino. But one of the good stories about Keegan used to have a way about him that if things weren't going right at half time, he would come into the changing room and he would hold the changing room door open as the players were coming off the pitch, and he'd be rolling up his sleeves. As we were walking past him, he was thinking, you just hoping it wasn't you. So I was remembering coming in and he started hammering a few players, dealing with technical players. And he turned around and he said to Sprilla's he's an interpreter at the time, he said, "Can you speak Spanish?" And Sprilla said, "Yeah, of course I can." He said, "Are you sure you can speak Spanish?" I said, "Yeah, I can." He said, "Because you can't be telling him what I'm telling you to tell him, because if you did, he wouldn't be playing the way he's playing." I said, "He's true, but yeah, I can. So anyway, Keegan had this way of saying to someone, like, when he'd given them a blast, and he'd turn around and he'd say, "Right, you've got 5 minutes, 5 minutes to turn it around. If I don't see you turn it around in 5 minutes, you're coming off this pitch." So he said that to one, he said that to two, and he went to Sprilla's, "You got 5 minutes, 5 minutes," and he turned around and he started to do something else. This one, Tino's naked. Saying all his gear off. So Keegan's got to, "What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? You've got 5 minutes." Yeah. You know what, you need 5 minutes. He just walked off into the shower and we just all sat there. I remember nudging more apart and going, "I think we need a substitute here." But yeah, that was too late.
We also had the big Belgian, the man who scored the 5th impressive goal against Manchester United, Philippe Albert. Any stories on Philippe?
Philippe used to think he was the master of languages, and so he used to say, "I can speak Geordie, I can speak Flemish, I can speak English, I can speak Cockney." So then one day we were coming out of the training ground, me and this young fella here was going out onto the training pitch, and he went, "Yeah, Tony Cockney, he's in Japan." Japan? Yeah, went to Japan, you're playing in Japan. So Keith's gone around and said, "Do you mean Japan?" So he went, you two can fuck off, you Cockneys."
And let's not forget one of the players I know you really enjoyed playing with, the man who created a lot of the ammunition for you, apart from Keith Gillespie, David Ginola.
Yeah, where do you start? The hair, the good looks, the skill, he had all of that. He couldn't take stick. I remember one day he went in the papers and he said, English players are very unprofessional. They eat sweets, they eat chocolate. They don't eat the right food and all that. And I said to him, did you conduct that interview on the back of the bus while you were smoking a cigarette? Because he used to smoke more than all the team put together. Yet we were unprofessional in the way we went out our business. But as he said, he was absolutely fantastic. He was arguably the best player I've ever played with in terms of what he was able to do in football.
I think a lot of people as well, when we got promoted, raised their eyebrows a little bit at us bringing Peter Beardsley back. But again, he was an integral part of that team. He came back the second time round and was just every bit as good as he was when he was here in 83 and 84 and got us promoted. So what was it like playing with Peter?
Pete was, that was, I started speaking to, when I spoke to Kevin Keegan about coming to Newcastle, it was like, he told me all about the club and what it was all about. For me, it was what I was going to be able to do for the football team. And, I'd seen Peter over the years and what he'd done for other centre forwards and felt that if there was one player that could improve the game apart from Kevin Keegan as the manager, Pete Beardsley was that player. He was absolutely fantastic for me. He was absolutely fantastic for this football team. I had a great supply line in Keith and David, but he was every bit as important to me going through the middle because he was absolutely sensational. I've never ever seen, even now when I speak to the boys at Queen's Park Rangers, some of the young players, I said, I've never seen a player give the ball away so much as Peter Beardsley, where he would try things, but then he would be the one that went back and won it again. And that just shows the type of man he is. I still speak to Peter every now and again, and just to see his play. And believe it or not, he's still playing on Wednesday nights as well.
No, he does love football. Was it strange coming here and working with Kevin, who'd been out of the game for so long, took his first management job here, obviously, but with the tactics, was it refreshing? Because it was something brand new, wasn't it? It was something never been tried before. We scored more than you.
The centre forward, that was music to my ears. We'll score more than you. He said, the one thing I will do is I'll supply you with ammunition. I'm building a team that will score goals. And if you're a centre forward, that's music to your ears. As he said, he was very persuasive with me coming in. And the one thing he said to me, he said that coming to Newcastle, he said, be like a goldfish bowl for it. He said, London, you can get lost. There's loads of famous people in London, so you can get away from things. He said, but in Newcastle, football is the people that do it all. So all the players are well revered and looked after. Everybody wants a better player. So you need to find things that you want to do. So I said, okay. So he said, so give me 3 things that you want. So I'll learn how to cook. Because I'm coming up on my own. So he said, no, we'll sort that out. I said, I'll learn how to play the saxophone, which he sorted out for me as well. I said, I want to learn how to ride a motorbike. So he said, well, I'm not sure if I can change you that one. I said, all right, well, I'll join Keith Gillespie in the bookies. And he said, he bought 10 lessons from me straight away on the bike, and then I went on my motorbike there as well.
Priceless. So, we didn't win the league. The following season, obviously we all had high expectations. Well then, out of the blue, Kevin walked away. How did he feel?
I've got to be honest, I think leading up to him walking away, we played, I remember us playing with Blackburn away from home and we lost. And I remember after the game we were doing the team talk, we sat back on the radio and he did say, I know when the right time is to walk away from this place. No one's going to have to push me, no one's going to have to tell me when to go. I'll know the right time to walk away. And we all thought it was a bit strange. The next day, a couple of days later, we went out and beat Tottenham. Yeah, just 6 or 7. And he didn't do the interview after that. Terry in front of the cameras. It all seemed a bit strange. So I think all the stuff that was obviously going on behind the scenes that we weren't privy to were taking its toll. But obviously when he left, it was a surprise because he just spent 15 million on that level and we were going to have a real go at trying to win the league that season. So I think it was a shock to everybody, including Keith. I'm not sure how much he knew about it, but it's great to have him. But it's like Yeah, it was a shock to everybody, and a real disappointment.
A real disappointment, and to be fair, the manager who came in next was a real disappointment to us. But having spoken to the players time and time again, all of the players had a lot of time for Kenny and a lot of respect for Kenny. You know, many of them seem to be friends with him still to this day. But what was your views on Kenny coming in?
I reckon when people ask me to describe the two different managers, I think when I came to play for Newcastle, when I spoke to Kevin Keegan, he made me feel like I'd done him the biggest favour in the world by signing for Newcastle. And for him, I'd done him the biggest favour in the world. I think Kenny Dalglish was a little bit, yeah, well, you're signing for Kenny Dalglish. You should revere that you're signing for Kenny Dalglish. But that doesn't make him a bad manager, it doesn't make him a bad person, it was just a different personality. I think it was going to be difficult for any manager that came in here after Kevin. It was always going to be tough, and unless they won the league or won a cup or something like that, it was almost going to be very, very difficult to replace Kevin Keegan. I think it's a little bit like, Manchester United, that's where he's essential. He's revered him as same capacity.
Yeah. The deal eventually came when the board of directors decided that you had a sell-on value and that they were going to cash in. Disappointing for us as supporters. And I know, your heart was here, you didn't really want to leave, but Newcastle did try to keep you. They did try to do an about turn. Alan got injured, didn't he, in the pre-season friendly? What happened then? What did you feel like?
It was a real strange time for me, because obviously I didn't want to leave the football club, and I was sort of told that the board wanted to raise some funds, and Dalglish had gone in and he said to me, look, I'm going to go in and try and fight for you. But then when I sat down and spoke to him about what his plans were for next season and how he was going to play, there were times that he said I was going to sit on the bench. And I said, no matter how I'm playing, how many goals I've scored, I'm going to sit on the bench. And he went, yeah, we're not good enough. And he said, at my age, I feel like I can score, I feel like I'm fit, I want to play. So if you're saying no, I'm going to sit on the bench, that will be no good for me. So I said, okay. And to be fair to Kenny, when I was leaving, I kind of like, it happened very quickly. I knew that Tottenham and other clubs would make bids, but I didn't think it was going to happen. And then it did happen. We was just getting ready for the Umbro tournament. And I'd gone back to, I was staying in Gosling Park at the time because I'd moved out of the flat. And I'd gone back to the hotel and I got a call on that Friday night. We was actually going to the Umbro tournament on Saturday. So look, Tottenham have made a bid and we've accepted it. And they want you to go down. In the morning and have your medical. So I was like, okay. And I went to Maiden Castle that Friday morning. So this was the Thursday. Friday morning I went to Maiden Castle and I said bye to all the players and staff, and I went into his office. And I said, look, all the best, I wish you all, but I really hope you can win something for these Geordie supporters. And he turned around and he said to me, I really hope that your family medical. I went, okay, cheers, mate, thanks a lot. But I scooted down to London, had my medical, and there was a lot of things that had gone on behind the scene, not to do with Kenny, but to do with the club itself, and some of the decisions that they made and some of the things that they said. So I got my back up a little bit. So when I went down, and I spoke to Alan Sugar, and decided that I was going to start. But then Alan broke his ankle in the Umbro tournament, and I was in the restaurant on Saturday night. I was with my girlfriend. I think she was my girlfriend. And Wayne came over and said to me, there's a call for you. No one knows I'm here, so someone must know, so they just called you. So I said, okay. So I went out and it was my agent saying, look, Ali's just broken his ankle. So I said, okay, I'll give him a call. I genuinely just thought he was calling me to say that Ali's broken his ankle, give him a call. So I said, I'll give him a call. So I said, all right, thanks for letting me know. When I put the phone in, hang on a minute, Newcastle want to speak to you. They're unable to speak to you because they've accepted the bid. So they want to speak to us. I said, okay, no problem. So they came down, Freddie Shepherd and Douglas Hall on the Sunday. But I'd already shaken hands with Alan Sugar and said to him, if all things be, if it's done and dusted, then I'm on the side. So it was really difficult for me to turn around as much as I wanted to do it. And I probably made a decision based around my pride, rather than what was the best thing for my footballing career. And sometimes in life you make these decisions at the time and you realise, and I always say to people, I did make the wrong decision, I should have come back, I didn't. I have to live with that decision I made.
beyond Tottenham, you had trophy success there with the League Cup, and you got to play up front with Jurgen Klinsmann.
Yep, Jurgen was brought in as an emergency because I wasn't as good as I was here, and I wasn't scoring as many goals. So Jurgen came back to the club, and again, great striker to play with. He was fantastic. We did get to the League Cup final. We won the League Cup final. We got to another one, and unfortunately lost that one at Cardiff. But you know, I'd supported Tottenham as a boy, and I think like Alan, you know, you realise the dream of playing the team that you supported as a boy. But I think Alan enjoyed his time, and I did probably enjoy my time as much as Tottenham. You know, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. When I started supporting Tottenham, it had always been the glamour club of London, and that's why I started supporting when I was a kid. I wasn't allowed to go to football, but me and my cousin, he supported Liverpool, and I said, no, I'm supporting someone in London, and I suppose Tottenham was the glamour club at the time. But when I actually went to the club itself, it was purely, you know, I mean, I had 5 different managers in the first 6 seasons as a change of board, so it just shows how settled the club was, but he did manage to reach himself.
And rounding off your career, really, you had a bit of a swan song at the club that's often in the news these days, Leicester. For a 37-year-old, you could still put the ball in the back of the net, mate, couldn't you?
Yeah, it was strange because I'd been at QPR for 8 years, came here for 2 years, then went back to Spurs, and I was at Spurs for 7 years. And then in the space of like 3 or 4 years, I started playing about 4 or 5 different clubs. But I went to Leicester for a season, you know, instead of scored, I think it was 14, about 23 games. So I'm famously back up there.
Before we get on to Newcastle as they are now and take some questions from the floor, two more areas I want to go through with you. And the first is QPR, Director of Football. I mean, how does that come about, and how different is that for you, who spend all your time in the dressing room, to suddenly be sitting in the director's box looking down on the lads and making those kind of decisions?
Well, I went into as soon as I retired, I went into doing some TV work and stuff like that, and got the opportunity to go back into coaching with Harry brought me back into Spurs. Enjoyed that, but I felt as a first team coach, too much standing around and really working with the players. So I said to Tim Sherwood, look, I've had enough of this, and I'm going to go back to doing what I was doing. He went, no, let's take over the 21s. And we looked at the 21s, and we felt like there was a real good group of youngsters coming through that we felt needed an opportunity, and we were just banging on the door, you've got to give them a chance, you've got to give them a chance, you've got to. Started working with them, and then, you know, we was going through it the other day. And I think out of the 18 players that we had, 15 had gone on to play in leagues, and either play for Tottenham or go on and play elsewhere, and Tottenham make good money on them. So I got a taste of the coaching side of things, but then I was also talking to Daniel Levy a lot about the structure and how they did things. And, you know, he had a director of football in Frank Albini, and some of the things that he did. And I said to Tim and Chris, you're going to be director of football somewhere, because I think there's not enough players that go back in and understand, okay, I had to learn the finance part of everything, but in terms of the football side and the way it should be run and the way they should be doing things, I don't think there's enough ex-footballers that go back into it and lend their expertise to that side of it. So going back upstairs and sitting in the boardroom, it's, you know, you sit in the director's box, and like all these supporters here, you never miss a chance, you never not save a penalty, you never not bend a free kick in the top corner. You know, you do it all up there, it's easy up there. It's easy to up there. So, you know, it's different. I mean, when you watch a game on a Saturday, and I'm sitting upstairs watching it, I look at things and I can't do nothing about it. However the players perform, they perform. As a player, you can have a bad game, but no, you can rectify it in the next one. So that's the difficult part.
Last thing before we open it up to the floor, you play for England, you know, and that's something which I suppose you aspire to as a young footballer. But you were in Euro 96 and you went to the World Cup in 98. A certain central midfield player who used to live in this area and did the country proud in 1990, Paul Gascoigne, you played with him, you've got some stories about him. Give us one of the best ones that you've got.
The best ones I've got? Where do I start? And again, when people talk to me about the best player who ever played with Darren, hands down is the best player who ever played. what he could do with football. It's an absolute travesty. You know, I feel for him, the situation he's in right now, but as a footballer, he should have been the best player in the world. Should have been, and had the capability to be the best player in the world. But I always remember being away with England, and as we know, Gazza does everything to the extreme. So one day we've been training, and he said to me, "Oh, let's come up to my room." There was a story coming about Kevin Keegan, and he'd been called with it, and I'd been called with it. And he said, "Look, you come to my room afterwards, and we'll talk about, we'll phone papers." So, so after training, went to his room, and I walked into his room. He had no word of lie, there was about 50 bottles of water on the floor. And they all had this like brown substance in it. So I said, "Gaz, what's that?" And he said, "Oh, someone told me that if you put ginger, black pepper and honey in a bottle, it'll help you to lose weight." "Yeah, but you got to drink it." He never did anything like that. And during the Euro '96, someone had given him this radiogram that when you turned it on, it made this ridiculous, like a cock in the morning when it's still making the noises. He would turn it on at 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. He'd have it outside his window, full blast, and all the lads would be fucking hell, that's all still here like that. It's time to get up like that. He was an unbelievable. And the things that he used to do, I'll tell you another little story there. He was, one day we got back, and him and Wraith were like little kids. Like, they got back from training, and he was like, "Right, we got down the sauna, So they got in the sauna, and John Salako was in the sauna with him. So he said, he'd been in there for 5, 10, 15 minutes, and then they went, "Wow, it's a bit like that," and they got out. And he said you could hear them laughing outside like little kids. So what's going on? So he's gone out, and he's thought to himself, "Oh, someone's got in the toilet here." That's what they were laughing at. They'd gone in the toilet. He said, "Picked his shorts up and said, I've got to get away from it because it stinks, and I don't want anyone coming in and think it was me." So he goes up into his room, and he's sitting in his room, and he's thinking, "I can still smell that smell. It couldn't have been that strong, it stayed in my room." So he said, he's gone to his shorts, and Gaz has only had a dump in his shorts like that. That was Gaz's, and everything was just like, I mean, some people won't find that funny. I'm not sure I'd found it funny if I could mind it. But it was non-stop, absolutely non-stop.
Great stories. I knew you'd have a few. Last question from me. Obviously you're involved with QPR, same division as Newcastle. You've watched us a few times this season, been up there, obviously saw us quite well at your place when we managed to get a 6-0 result, but up here, playing the game. But you know, joking aside, how do you think Newcastle have done this season? Will they get promoted? Will they win the league?
Yeah, I think they will. When we played up here a few months ago, one of my mates said to me, "Never been to Newcastle, you got to come to this stadium. It's the best stadium in the world, best supporters, the place will absolutely be jumping because of where the team is in the league at the moment." So he came up with me, and we sat in the stands, and I said to him, "The atmosphere ain't quite right. Not how I remember it, you know." And I've said this to someone else. When I played here, that stadium was like the our 12th man, and it won us games when we shouldn't have won games. And I thought that's what it was going to be like when we brought me up. So if you want to see the set supporters get behind their team, you need to come over with me tonight. And he came, and I said, "No, there's a little bit of anxiety in the crowd, and when you're a player and you're out on the field and there's anxiety in the crowd, you feel it. And it ain't no coincidence that Newcastle's results away from home are so much better than they are at home at the moment. It's fantastic as you supporters are. When you're getting behind that team, you really don't realise how much you give to that team when you get behind them. And I can just feel the anxiety right now. I know you want to get promoted, and trust me, I want you to get promoted. I really do. I really want you to get promoted. But that's going to only happen if you guys get behind this team. You've certainly got the capabilities in the team to do it. But I know how special this place is when it's jumping, and you get that place jumping. I'm telling you, you turn it around. And I still think you get promoted anyway. But I think if you can turn it around, you definitely will.
And that's from the heart. Okay, got about 15, 20 minutes left for your questions. So put your hand up, we'll try and get around as many as that. We'll go right at the back because I know you used to be very disappointed tonight. So guy, your hand up on the right hand side, very right at the back. That's you, mate, yeah? You. Can you just say our mate's guy in the back? Right, okay. Noise down, please, so I can hear him. Shout up, mate.
They beat Man United 5-0 in '96. Could you just describe what it was like in the dressing room after and what you remember of training for the next few days?
When we beat Man United 5-0 at home, what was it like in the change room afterwards and obviously around the ground and in training after the next few days?
I think we just before the game, Keegan sort of went in his team talk was, the only thing he said was, you owe these people. In terms of you supporters, we owed you. We got humiliated in the charity shield. We got beaten the year before at home. He just said, you owe these people. And you know, I think to a man, we looked at each other and said, look, he's 100% right, we do owe them. And to go out and beat him 5-0, probably one of the greatest periods in my life in terms of playing football, especially against Manchester United as well. It was absolutely outstanding. And in the change rooms after, everyone was jumping for joy. And you know, it just gave everyone a great feeling, not only for the next couple of days, but for the next few weeks as well.
Next question. We'll go to you youngster, at the front. Go on. What did you get for Christmas?
It's really American. When you get to my age, it's what happens is people go, you've got everything anyway. So let me buy these pair of socks. And I go, well, I've got socks as well. I go around and says, no, I was really fortunate. I got some nice golf clubs for Christmas.
Next question, please. Yes, ma'am. Is Jerry Francis still involved in QPR, and how good a footballer do you think Jerry Francis was?
He does, guy. We used to call Jerry the raccoon, and he still looks like a raccoon now when you see him on Sky. No, he's no longer involved at QPR. He works at West Brom with Tony Pulis. And as you talk about players, probably never got the recognition he deserved, Jerry. Jerry was a great footballer. And if you look back, unfortunately, through his time at Queen's Park Rangers, you had the likes of Stan Bowles, Rodney Marsh, who probably hold the headlines because they were front players, but he was an outstanding footballer.
Next question. Yes, you're right at the back there, mate. I'll come back to you, mate. Yes. I will get you next time. Yes, go on, mate.
Everybody around the club, so like coaching staff, like obviously the manager, obviously all the team get a lot of credit. What about like people in the background, i.e. sort of like people dedicated the training ground, like Derek Wright, Tony Howard, Mike, all that. What's your
wife's name? What's your wife's name? Come on.
Yeah, Mike's obviously flat, like secretary. But that aside, what for them? How good of a job do they do?
Well, I mean, they run the football club, and they're the people behind the scenes that don't often get the credit they deserve. But you know, the nature of football means without the footballers, those people will never job anyway. So we know they play a really important part. But without the footballers, they wouldn't be there anyway. So it's all a team. We're all a team. They're all a team, and we all work together. Ain't just the 11 out there or the 20, 24 that you got in the squad. It's everyone that's involved in Newcastle or any other football team.
Okay. Yes. Are you going to bring another autobiography out, Les?
I've been told I should tell my life story. So yeah, I think at some stage I will. I'm not sure I'm listening to everybody, but I'll try and support by a bit. Okay, no worries.
Right, where's that guy who kept jumping up? There he is, right, I've got you this time. Go for it.
of all the
Okay.
You're laughing yourself, it's not even a question, is it? No, it's not. You're laughing. No, obviously the entertainers. I mean, it was the best, you know, I was gutted when I left there. And it was the greatest time, you know, I was only here for 2 years, but it was the greatest time in my footballing career. And a great time at QPR. In terms of, you know, the players that I played with, the quality of players that I played with, and the actual football club, which is second to none.
Thanks, mate. No problem. Next question. Yes, you straight down the middle. You played with the greats, Ginola, Beardsley, Asprilla. You played with some greats. Who was the worst player that Les Ferdinand played with?
Are you talking about the two? Or just in my career? The two? I'm thinking. Do we have any bad players? There was a player called at Tottenham called Roman Vega. So I really liked him. He was a real nice guy. But in terms of football, and I think what made him worse than he actually was the fact that he thought he was a good player.
Yes, Nigel. What do you think of Sunderland, Les?
I remember when we played it last game of Roker Park, and the ball went off. It was Pete Beardsley and but I always remember the ball went off for a throw, and I went off to get it. Went to pick it up, see me. I was going, fucking this, you fucking know what? I've got to. Hey, where's all this North East hospitality I've heard about? I didn't get it. But to answer you, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Come to you next time. When Peter Crouch was asked if he hadn't been a footballer, he would have been a virgin, what would Les Ferdinand's answer to be?
I think I would have been a virgin as well. That was you. He would have been a virgin. I think I'd have been a virgin as well.
Okay, come to you now, mate. Best of all, let's try any other questions. Would you ever consider wearing pink football boots?
I would never thought about wearing pink football boots. But I know boys get paid a lot of money to wear pink football boots. It wouldn't have been what I wanted to wear. But sometimes now, I think nowadays, I go into our boot room and I say, why? Why do they wear these different colour boots? And I say, well, it's what the companies want. And they don't make black and white boots anymore, unfortunately.
Okay, you've already had a question. Come to you, sir. Yes, ma'am. What do you think about Alexander Mitrovic? He seems to split people's opinions.
I think if you look at him, he's got all the capabilities of being a very, very, very good striker. But having the capabilities and actually doing it are two different things. And I think he's like the modern footballer. Sometimes they get a little bit too much too quickly and don't have to work as hard as perhaps they should do. I think if you look at him, he's got the makings of a very good striker. It's just, can you get it out of him? He looks a little bit overweight for me. And as I said, you know, I'm in it every day, and I'm seeing it. You know, some of my players are over, and I just think how in today and what's available in football today for footballers to be overweight is a disgrace. And unfortunately, that's just society and the way things are today.
We'll go a bit further back before we come back down here. Yes, mate, with your hand up. What will it take? I think I know the answer to this, but what will it take to get Newcastle back up where they belong?
I think you've got a good manager. I think you need to keep hold of him if you can, because he's been there, he's done it. He understands what the Premier League is all about. There'll be changes that need to be made, and I think, you know, when Keegan got promoted with his team back in the early 90s, a lot of players that had done really well for him in the championship, he got rid of straight away and said, look, no, we're going to step up, we have to get better players. But you know, I think everybody associated with Newcastle wants to sit back and be a real challenger in the Premier League. It's going to take a bit of time, there's patience, but it's one thing we don't have in society today is patience. But you know, with the right manager, and I think you've got him. If he's given the right backing, I think he can get you there.
100%. Okay. Any more questions from the back? Yes, sir. Straight down the middle with your hand up. Yeah, with the beard.
So, what, from an outsider looking in, what do you think of Mike Ashley and what he's done for this football club?
He hasn't had a lot of stick, it has to be said. He hasn't had a lot of stick over the last 2 years. So, what's your take on Mike Ashley as an outsider looking in as a former player?
A real love-hate relationship. I think he bought the football club not actually knowing what he was getting into. He's got into it now, and let it wilt for a bit. I don't think he is Spurs, you know? Yes. No, I don't think he is. It's probably, he's got his fingers in many pies, hasn't he? So I think it's a love-hate relationship. It has been, but I think you have to admit over the last couple of years he's kind of put his money where his mouth is, and he's plugged some money into the football club. Even if he's looking to sell it, he's looking to make it the best asset he possibly can before he sells it. And you know, you have to get behind him and say, well, okay, you know, you've done some things that have upset the Geordie public, but he's now trying to put that right. It looks that way. I'm not saying that because he's London and his Spurs fan, I'm saying that because I genuinely believe that.
Yeah, good answer. Yes, mate. Best goal you've ever scored, Les?
I scored one against Man United at QPR. That stands out. I always, when people say that to me, you know, I say things and then I go away and I what about that one, what about that one. I say like I scored loads of goals. Yeah. I was going to say the one I scored here, my first goal, was just because it got me on the run. I always say to people that was one of my favourites. Probably weren't the best goals I've ever scored, but it was one of my favourite goals I've ever scored. My best one, I scored one against Wimbledon at Selhurst Park once, where I picked it up on the halfway line and beat about 3 or 4 players. So that sticks out as well. That's probably the best one.
Great stuff, good answer. You've had one, son. Come to you, mate. Ever come back to Newcastle in any capacity?
If I got married to a Geordie girl, then I would come back to Newcastle.
Any offers? I'm sure your lad by the way. Right, anybody else? Any other questions? Got another couple of questions we can have. Back to you, mate, right at the back on that table, yeah. Actually, we were talking about Danny Bear earlier, and we've seen a photograph of her. She's aged well. But she's not from Newcastle. Right, go on, mate. Best of all, we get that question in.
I don't imagine there'll be many people in here that thought you'd have come here with Keith Gillespie. That looks like a... I mean, I don't know mates' relationships and stuff like that, but how's that come about? And have you been pals since Newcastle, or...?
Have you been good pals with Keith? I mean, the fact that Keith's probably just been in and out of boozers for the last 3 days, and he just happens to be here is the reason he's here. But were you good pals with Keith? You roomed with Warren Barton, but yeah, you're good pals with Keith?
He didn't even know I was going to be here tonight. He was just looking for somewhere to go. I spent some time here with Keith, and then unfortunately for me, my career, I bumped into him again when we was at Leicester. But he's always been a good lad. We don't really stay in touch, but whenever I see him, it's you know, if he was on here tonight and I was in Newcastle, I'd come to see him for 5 minutes or so. And can I say, the only reason we don't keep in contact, because for the whole time that I've known him, he's never ever bought me a drink. He's drank loads and loads and loads off of me, but he's never bought me a drink. But I think that just, you know, Keith being here tonight just shows, I think, the camaraderie we had within the group of players that we had, you know. There was a special bond at the time, and I know people go off and they do different things in life, but whenever we can get together, you know, there's always a good showing for it.
We did that last year with the Entertainers raising 53 grand bronze charity, which testament to both lads for being involved in that as well. Well done, lads. Yes, Peter. Have you read Keith's book?
When someone says to me he's done a book, I just thought it was pictures. Nothing to read, so I was just like, that's how I exceeded it. But, no, in answer to your question, I haven't read it yet, but now that you told me, I will read it, because there must be some interesting stuff in it. I always remember, you know, as we all know, that he had a little bit of gambling habit up here. It was only a small one, you know, it was only a small one. And I always remember one day we trained here on the pitch, and we used to have a sauna in the changing room, so after the training session, the lad would take the piss out of him all training about all the money he lost and stuff like that. So after training, I got in the sauna, and he came and sat in the sauna with me. And he was saying, oh, when all the way to take the piss today, about all the money you were laughing. I said, well, no, I think it's quite serious. Plus it was in his son's this name, 67 grand. It's got to be about 27 grand. No, it was 67 grand.
Okay, we've got time for one more question because Les is driven up and he's driving back to London tonight. So one more question. Yes, we'll give it to you. Okay. Do you want to marry Jodie girl? What hotel you staying in? We've answered that one because he's driving back tonight. He's going to get back. He's at work tomorrow. We've got one more question. One more question. We've had a few of these. We haven't had you, mate. Yes, go on.
We've heard about one of your favourite ones and whatever. I was sitting here in the ground when you played for Spurs. And
we've had a few bad directors of football, Dennis Wise, for instance. But what makes you a good director of football?
What makes you good one? I mean, for me, I kind of knew the owners of the football club before I actually became a director of football. And I'd said a few things to them about what was going on in the club and what needed to happen and blah, blah, blah. And slowly but surely they kept calling me, you know what you said there, it's just happened. You know what you said there, it's just happened. I said, well, okay. So I do understand the football side of things. And don't get me wrong, I make mistakes, you know, we'll work on a few players and they won't be right. But it's having an understanding of what the workings of the football club is, i.e. your players, your staff that need to be around, you know, I went into a horrible situation. You know, we had players that were earning over-inflated wages, and the ones that we were trying to bring in were on much less. And you're saying to the ones that are coming in, you need to run around. And the ones that are earning the most money in football, they ain't running around. So you've got a real difficult bridge to kind of like hold a gap there. And so it was a real difficult situation. I told the owners this is what was going to happen. We were going to struggle for a couple of years, and that's exactly what we've done. But I think next year we'll kick on, because we've got rid of all those boys that didn't really want to be at the football club. And we got relegated, and when you do get relegated, you'll notice there's depression that comes over the place. Not just with the players, with the support, with the manager, with the board, everybody has that depression. And trying to get rid of that depression in that cloud is very, very difficult. And I think we managed to do it, and we'll push on from here. Whether I'll be a success, I said I've come into it because I want to be a success, and I will be a success there. But once I've done that, I'm going to go sit in the sun and read the paper.
Ladies and gentlemen, that brings tonight's proceedings to an end. Please be outstanding for the main man, Les Ferdinand.
Before I take the applause, can I just say one more thing? You know, I was only here for 2 years, and as I've said, it was the best 2 years of my life. I played for Tottenham, I work at QPR now, and I play for various other teams, but this is the only place that I'll ever come back to and do one of these talkings, because every time I come here, you guys make me feel so special, and you make me realise that, you know, I did the worst thing in the world by not coming back and playing for you for a little bit more. You see, it's the biggest regret. There's a lot of players that go for their lives, their footballing lives, and I think I've had a good footballing career, and some of them have no regrets, but not coming back to Newcastle United was my biggest regret.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be on your feet for Sir